They say that real love is never easy. Families, traditions, and expectations rise as walls, testing whether affection can withstand the weight of doubt. Yet, in those very struggles lies its beauty, the courage to hold on, the strength to fight, and the hope that two souls can still build a home together. When love is more than a feeling, it is a stand, a choice, and a struggle against everything that says no. Welcome to another episode of Unwithering Flames. I'm here with another book. Let's start. You are crazy. This man is 20 years older than you. He is Iranian while we're Lebanese. He has always been in the war zone. He doesn't have any money. He is not like us. He doesn't even have a birth certificate. Ghada placed her head between her hands and closed her eyes. Why had everyone become so similar? It was as if those words were the text of a play everyone had memorized. Her mother, father, relatives, and even her friends, except for her. She wished she had been born into an ordinary family. She wished she had no car of her own. She wished her father was a teacher or a worker instead of trading between Africa and Japan. Everything would have been different. She knew that Mustafa's situation was not any better than hers. Those who work with Mustafa didn't like him. They reject him. Oh God, this is the most challenging part of the story. She wished her grandmother was there. If she were there, Ghada would have nothing to worry about. Her grandma would listen and sympathize with her. Above all, Mustafa's love for wilaya was what attracted me to him. I always wrote what the Thais see, and every particle of Jabal Amul's soil reminded me of Abu Dahr's voice. This voice was in my soul and I felt like I had to reach there, but there was no one to take my hand. Mustafa played the role of that hand. When he came into my life, it was as if Salman came. Salman is from us, the Ahlul Bayt, our household. He could take my hand and drag me out of this darkness, out of this monotonous life. I couldn't convince myself to get married and live like millions of others. I was looking for a man like Mustafa, a great soul, free from the world and all its belongings. But my parents and relatives couldn't understand this. They had different ideals and had the right to say no. However, Mustafa asked for my hand by sending Sayyid Qaravi to my family. My family rejected it at first, but Imam Musa Sad intervened. I vouch for him. If my daughter had reached the age of marriage, I wouldn't have hesitated to accept his proposal, he said. His words impressed them, but the conflict was still unresolved. They didn't give in, and I didn't either. I had already made up my mind to marry Mustafa. I thought it was a good idea to finally sign our marriage contract with Imam Musa Sad's permission as a religious leader, but Mustafa disagreed. Despite all the pressures, he insisted that my parents sign our marriage contract. Try to convince them kindly. I wouldn't like to marry you while your parents are upset, said Mustafa. But life has a way of breaking even the heaviest of chains. After days of tension, arguments, and tears, events unfolded that brought Ghada and Mustafa closer. Despite the rejection, despite the distance that Ghada's family tried to create, something stronger kept pulling them together. Eventually, the barriers gave way and the two finally unified. Their marriage began not with extravagance, but with simplicity. An intimate ceremony at Ghada's home, stripped of the traditions everyone expected. It was not what society considered normal, but it was theirs. It was the life they chose, a quiet beginning for a love that was destined to be tested. Why are you still here? Take your stuff and let's go to our own house, said Mustafa one afternoon when he came to see me. Sure, I said. I put my toothbrush, comb, and etc. in a plastic bag and told my mother I'm leaving. "Where are you going?" asked my mother. "To my husband's house," I replied. This is the simplicity with which I wanted to go to my husband's house. I didn't consider family honor or things like that with great regard. My mother thought I was kidding. "I will come back tomorrow to take the remaining belongings," I continued. My mother got angry. She shouted at Mustafa and spoke harshly to him. "You have made my daughter insane. You have mesmerized her. You," shouted my mother. Then she went into a state of shock and fell to the floor. Mustafa hugged and kissed her. My mother's hands and feet were trembling. She was shocked as to what was happening to her. "You made my daughter insane. Divorce her right now. Break your spell and set her free," said my mother angrily. She did not mean what she was saying. We were shocked too. Mustafa tried to calm her down, but it only worsened the situation, and she didn't stop. "Okay, I'll divorce her," Mustafa said. "Right now," insisted my mother. "I'll divorce her right now," Mustafa finally said. "Will you promise me?" asked my mother, as if she didn't believe him. "I'll promise to divorce her right now, but only on one condition," replied Mustafa. I was petrified. We were about to be divorced. My mother wasn't feeling well. "I'll divorce her, provided she agrees. I don't want you to be upset," said Mustafa. My mum turned to me and asked me to say I want to get divorced. "Okay, Mum, I'll get divorced tomorrow," I said. That night, I didn't go with Mustafa. My mother calmed me down, and 2 days later, when my father came back from his trip, they told him the whole story. My father was a very rational man. Before he arrived, my mother was not going to change her mind, and she was still insistently asking me to get divorced. We have no such a thing as getting divorced in our family. However, if you are determined to do that, now is the time. But if you want to continue with this under these circumstances, my father told me, "Yes, I accept all of the conditions," I said. "Then go. We don't want to see you anymore. Please just no longer trouble us," he continued. To Qada, these words were unbelievably harsh. She turned back and looked at Mustafa's side profile walking beside her. She thought that Mustafa was worth it. Despite all these problems, dear Mustafa always lets her see her mother whenever she wants. Mustafa's voice brought her back to reality. "I won't come back to your home today. Try to win your mother's heart. If she said something unpleasant, don't get upset. I'll come to pick you up at night," said Mustafa. Mum felt very sick that night. She had a kidney failure. "Mum is not feeling well. I'm worried about her. I can't leave her," I told Mustafa when he came to pick me up. Mustafa came to her. He saw that she was in so much pain and tears streamed down his face. He kissed my mum's hand and said, "Tell me what you're feeling." A doctor visited her and said that she had to be hospitalized in Beirut. At the time, Israel was repeatedly bombarding Beirut entire, and it was difficult to travel back and forth between the two cities. "I'll take her," Mustafa said. Then he lifted Mother into his arms and went to Beirut. Mother was hospitalized for a week. Mustafa recommended that I should look after my mother and never leave her alone, even at night. "You are alone. Why do you make Qada stay here? Take her. I'll take care of myself," Mother said whenever she woke up and saw Mustafa there. "No, she should stay here and look after you. I'll stay too for as long as I can," Mustafa said. He then kissed my mother's hands and cried. He cried a lot. Mother was surprised and ashamed to receive that much kindness. My mother's health improved and we went back home. I stayed with her for 2 more days. I remember the day Mustafa came to pick me up. Before starting the car, he grabbed my hand and kissed it. He kept kissing it and thanking me with tearful eyes. "Why are you doing this, Mustafa?" I asked. "The hands that serve mothers are sacred to me and they should be kissed," he replied. "Why are you thanking me? The person I served was my mother, not yours. Why are you doing this?" I asked. Hands that serve mothers are sacred, and those who are not kind to their mothers are not kind to anyone. I thank you for serving your mother with such love and affection, he said. "Mustafa, you're saying this after all they did to you?" I said. "They had every right to because they love you." They don't know me, and naturally, every parent wants to keep their daughter safe, he said. I never forgot how valuable serving my mother was to him. My mother changed drastically after all this. I was wrong saying that. I take my words back. She must do this for you. Why do you keep spoiling her so much? Mustafa didn't say anything. He just laughed. I looked at my mum. Now she is more sympathetic to Mustafa than me, I thought to myself. My heart relished such a thought. The day Mustafa came to our house for a marriage proposal, my mother asked him if he knew the girl he wanted to marry. Every morning she wakes up before she even washes her face and brushes her teeth. Someone makes her bed, brings a glass of milk to her bedroom and makes coffee. You can't live with such a girl. You can't bring her a maid in this situation, Mother said to Mustafa. I can't bring her a maid, but I'll promise to make her bed and serve her with a glass of milk and a cup of coffee on a tray in her bed as long as I'm alive, he said after listening quietly to my mother. And so he did until the day of his martyrdom. Even in Ahvaz, on the war front, he insisted on making my bed. He fetched milk. He didn't drink coffee, but he made it because he knew that we, the Lebanese people, are accustomed to drinking coffee. Well, why, Mustafa? I asked. I have promised your mother to do this for you as long as I'm alive, he said. Mother always thought that after marriage, Mustafa would retaliate and stop me from visiting them. However, Mustafa did nothing except show kindness and respect. I sometimes thought he was so tolerant that he could make room for the whole universe in his soul. At first glance, it seemed impossible, a daughter of comfort and a man with nothing but his great soul. He had no wealth, no comfort to offer, only a heart untainted by the world, a spirit vast and unshakable. In his love, she discovered that true happiness lies not in what dazzles the eyes, but in what heals the soul. And Mustafa, steadfast, gentle, unshaken, proved that true greatness does not lie in possessions, but in a way a man serves, forgives, and loves. Together, they became a living testament that when love is pure, even the fiercest storms cannot extinguish it. So that was it for today. We hope to see you in our upcoming videos.